Jackpot!
I won! I actually won! I can't stop winning! I can't stop winning! I can't stop winning!
Jackpot!
Let's go! You know what? No. We're done gambling, dude. This is it.